What's going on, traders? Yes, I know, early, late video. I apologize. I know I promised you guys a video every day this week, but I was extremely tired last night. I tried to wait on Trump's speech. I tried to wait on Tim Cook's speech. I just could not do it. I ended up falling asleep, so I apologize. In the last video, a lot of you were saying, the mic keeps going out. Some of you are saying the mic is great. I don't know. I live in the South. I moved to the South. We have a lot of tropical storms, a lot of hurricanes, a lot of internet outages here, like a lot of internet outages here. So I'm doing my best. I'm working with what I can, or someone who moved from Chicago or was born and raised in Chicago. I think where I live is a complete upgrade. I love where I live. So it's not me complaining. I'm just letting you guys know what's going on. So we're going to keep pushing. We're going to try our best. I appreciate you guys who support me. Continue to support me despite the problems and things like that. And of course, I still have haters. And of course, I got roasted for the mic. I'm still getting roasted for the mic, but I can't control what happens here. Okay. I really can't. So doing my best. All right. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about the spy, triple Qs, all that fun stuff. And yeah. All right. So let's talk about it. So right now in the Discord, or at least last night, yesterday in the Discord, we crushed it. Okay, we jumped into Tesla calls, 325 strike calls with expiration of August 15th. We jumped into those at 5.25. We ended up trimming some profit at 6.15 and ultimately took profit at 6.40. So, congratulations to Discord members on that. We also jumped into Baba 120 strike calls for August 15th. We jumped in at 3.20. Ended up trimming profit before it closed at 3.85, and we're still holding some runners so far. Baba looks like it's going up pre-market, so we'll see what happens there. All right, but yeah, crushing it in the Discord. If you're wondering about those spy puts and those triple Q puts, we ended up taking profit on those. This is why it's important for you guys to pay attention in the videos when I talk about levels. Okay, a lot of you, some of you, not even a lot of you, some of you are just like, oh, you're wrong and you were wrong and blah blah blah, and it's just like, well, yeah, 627 was never broken on the SPY. So therefore, yeah, the next level was not going to happen until that level was broken. So it's important to pay attention to those things, right? So 627 was your key level. We did not break 627. Had we broke below 627, like I was saying in the last video, then we would head to 625, and 625 being your ultimate level. If you manage to break below 625, then you're heading towards 620. Since we could not get below 627, I alerted Discord members that we should probably take profit. We ended up taking profit, and then we started looking at calls because we were just having a very hard time breaking below that 627 level. Not only that, but Apple ended up getting good news during the day, so it wasn't really safe to hold puts during that type of news. So we'll see. But right now, SPY is 637 pre-market, pretty insane. At this point, I do believe that we are going to head towards 650. Now, something we talked about. Let's kind of backtrack here because we're kind of get ahead of ourselves. ES. So this is something we talked about in the past. This trend line right here, right? If you look at the, let's actually go to the weekly. All right. So if you look at the weekly, this trend line here, we've constantly been breaking back below it in the past. We've broken below it. We broke back above it. We just played games a lot when it comes to this trend line. That's right for you. That's all right. So we always played games around here, right? So we break above it, we break back below it, we break above it, we break back below it. Here, right? We broke above it, we break back below it. You formed your double top, you ended up making a neckline, then you broke below it, and you ended up correcting all over again. And so it looks like we're repeating ourselves here. It looks like the market is, doing the same thing that we saw in the past, where we're breaking below it, we're breaking back above it. We're doing this roller coaster ride. Okay. So at this point in time, I do think that ES, since we got above 6350 all over again, I do think ES is going to make an attempt towards 6500. Highest I'm looking at is 6600. All right, so that's what I'm looking at. So yes, I do think all-time highs is possible. I know in the last video I said I don't see it yet. We need more confirmation, but now that we have some type of confirmation that all-time highs is on the table all over again, because I know some of you were saying that, yeah, I think all-time highs is on the table, and a few videos ago, right? I think it's very much possible. You have a low here, higher low here, and all you need is a higher high at that point. So 650, I do think is on the table. Well, 6600 is on the table for ES, and 650 is on the table for the SPY. All right. As long as we stay above this trend line, I'm pretty optimistic for all-time highs. Not only that, but we're pretty illiquid up here. Okay, all the way towards about 6450. We're pretty illiquid, so I definitely think at least at minimum we could see previous highs at this point. I mean, we're basically there, so why not? All right, so that's what we're looking at for the ES SPY. All right, SPY. So SPY, we broke back above this trend line after hours or pre-market, right? And it's looking good. So our key level for the SPY that we talked about in the last video was 633. We broke above 633. Therefore, 635 was on the table, and now we are seeing 637. And once again, like we talked about on the ES, right? We're playing games all over again with this trend line, right? We're breaking above it, we're breaking back below it, we're breaking above it, we're breaking back below it. We're consolidating above it sometimes, we're consolidating below it at some this time. So I imagine this is probably going to keep happening. Now, some of the Discord members are like, does the market not care about tariffs anymore? Because we did get tariff news yesterday, right? When it comes to semiconductors, I don't think the market necessarily doesn't care. I think the market is pricing in something different. And at this rate, I do think the market is pricing in rate cuts. Okay. We have a higher chance of rate cuts happening in September. And so I think the market is more so paying attention to that versus tariffs, because I think the market, I mean, I guess the market is kind of over tariffs at this point because it's always being changed up or switched up, tacoed and all that fun stuff. So yeah, I think the market is kind of over it, but at the same time, I think the market is just pricing in rate cuts at this point. So we'll see. But SPY, your key level again, 633, 635, 637, which we are currently at pre-market, and then 640. You managed to get above 640 or your previous highs, which is yeah, just about 640, then I imagine 650 is on the table. As far as breaking back towards the downside, all right, if you believe in trend lines, put this trend line on your chart. If you don't, then, I don't know why you're here. But if you manage to break back below 633, then you're looking at 630, 627, your main level here that we just continue to have a hard time breaking below. 627, 625, and then 620 is your, I wouldn't say final boss, but it's the gatekeeper to the final boss, which is 613, 608 zone right down here. Right. So that's what we're looking at when it comes to the SPY. Triple Qs. So triple Qs, 566 was your key level. Don't know where it went, but it was here. So, source, trust me, bro. But six, no, not six, 566 was your key level. You broke below above 566. 569 was your next key level, 570 psych level. And now you are attempting to break towards the previous highs, which is at 575. You get above 575, obviously you're at price discovery mode. So you're looking at 580, 585, 590, so on and so forth. You are also creating higher lows, low here, higher low here. All you need to do is create a higher high. You can argue that this is a double bottom. Me personally, I don't think it's a double bottom, but you can argue that it is. It doesn't necessarily matter at this point. So that's what we're looking at for the triple Qs when it comes to upside. When it comes to downside, 550 guys, that's really what matters here. All right, 550. We continue to hold 550. So right here, mark it out for you guys. So we continue to hold 550 here. As you guys can see, it's not even 550 actually. It's 552, right? You bounced, you consolidated, you bounced. I mean, you bounced. I mean, this level is highly respected, guys. 550 is your key level when it comes to downside. So 552, 550. And then if you manage to get below 550, then 540, 537 is on the table when it comes to the triple Qs. All right. Last but not least, NQ. NQ, pretty much the same thing. Now, NQ is pretty much hitting this trend line all over again, right? Um, Very much possible that you break above it, right? Very much possible. So either we are going to reject from here or we're going to break above it. But bulls obviously are trying to push us higher, low here, higher low here. So 23,600 is your key level here. You managed to break above that. Actually, it's about 23,650. So I do apologize about that. 23,650, right? So right about here where these guys are. So you guys see I'm not making it up. Rejection here, right? So we managed to get above this. Then obviously we're heading towards previous highs at around 23,850, and then we'll see what happens from there. So that's what we're looking at for the NQ when it comes to more upside. We are currently at this trend line. We're below major resistance, so we need to break above this area for the triple Qs and obviously the SPY and everything else to pump towards the upside. All right, so that's pretty much what we're looking at. Apple. So Apple has finally made its move towards this gap fill. We go to the daily time frame here, guys. I mean, it's about time. All right, it's about time. It filled this gap at 622. Um, I guess the question is because a lot of Discord members are asking me, is this like a sell to news event? There's no way for me to even know that, but um, I think Apple's going to go higher. I do. I think Apple's gonna go higher. I believed Apple was gonna go higher for its earnings. It didn't, right? It kind of went higher. It went to like 617 and then rejected. But I think Apple can it has the potential to go higher. And I'm looking at about 230. I keep wanting to say 230. Um, Possibly even higher than that, guys. Let's see. Yeah, because there's like a gap here at 235, between 235 and 238. I think Apple can make it happen. I do. If we're talking about the SPY heading towards 650, I think this can happen. I think Apple can go higher. All right, we'll see. Okay, we will see. But everyone's asking me, is this like a sell the news type of deal? Should they like start shorting Apple? I don't think you should short Apple here. I don't. Don't take my word for it. Don't let me stop you from your dreams. And the reason why I say this, okay, so let's lock in a bit because I'm kind of rambling. All right, so you're very illiquid right here. I think if anything, we need to take this out before we start considering shorting Apple. Okay. Maybe you want to, take a low risk trade here. Maybe, it fills the gap. You set a tight stop loss at around what, 622. If you're being lenient, not six, 222, 225, right? Maybe you want to, set a more lenient stop loss at 225 or a tight stop loss at 222. Or if you're trying to enter puts, again, I'm not encouraging puts, but a lot of you keep asking me, should you short it here? But you're very liquid up here. I think we need to take this out. I do. If we're talking about the SPY heading to 650, I think you need to take this out. Okay, I think you do. All right, so that's my thoughts when it comes to Apple and more potential upside. I'm not there when it comes to shorting just yet. I'm just not. Not only that, guys, but I tell you guys all the time, pay attention to candles. There's hardly any bears here. It's like mostly bulls here, right? So once we get within this range, I mean, if anything, these guys have incentive to push Apple even further to the upside. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay. Again, I wouldn't necessarily jump the gun and assume that we should just get puts here. I'm not interested in getting puts here. I'm really not interested in trading Apple at all, because it just took like 2 months for this one move to happen and this one gap to get filled. So, I mean, look at this. This is insane. It just took forever, right? But Apple continues to make higher lows, right? Low here, higher low, higher low, higher low. So I mean, yeah, you can continue to head higher, and there's not really any bears in this area here. So yeah. So right now I'm leaning towards a push higher on Apple. Maybe 230, 230, 235. I mean, if we're being optimistic, 240 is on the table. Just to clear out this area right here, very liquid area right here. So we'll see. Okay, we will see. All right. Baba, since I keep talking about Baba, so Baba, if you go to the daily, well, weekly time frame, is it the weekly? No, it's not the weekly. The 4 hour time frame. If you go to the 4 hour time frame, Baba is breaking out of a bull flag. All right. This is probably the only Chinese name I ever trade. Okay, so Baba is breaking out of a bull flag. You are looking at a move towards 130. Okay, maybe even higher than that. All right, I do believe they have earnings next Thursday as well. So be careful if you're looking to swing trade this through earnings. I think it's like August 14th. Baba always changes his earnings, so keep track of that. But I do think Baba is going to continue to pump from here. Obviously, you're going to see some dips towards the downside, maybe a retest of 120 all over again. But yeah, I mean, you're breaking. This is a beautiful break out of this bull flag, so it's definitely possible that Baba heads all the way up here where these guys are. Very liquid area. Hopefully, you guys can see this. Very liquid area all the way between 130, 133. You do have a gap fill all the way at 143 as well. So going to be interesting to see how this plays out. So that's what pretty much prompted me to alert Discord members to jump into this trade. So congratulations. We're still holding some runners on this, so we'll see what happens. So far, we're deeper in profit, or we're not too deep into profit. It's time decay and all that fun stuff. So we'll see what happens here. All right. Meta. I think Meta is just going to. I mean, you keep creating higher lows. So low here, higher low here. This area here is kind of sketchy, but at the end of the day, I mean, if the market's going to pump, then I see no reason why Meta can't see 800. Because some people were asking me, do I think Meta can see 800? I think it's possible. You got a little space here, about 795. So we'll see. This might be go to the weekly. Okay, yeah, we're good. So yeah, about 795, I think is possible minimum. 800 is going to be a tough psych level for Meta to break. We'll see. Hims. Some of you are asking me about Hims. I'm not. I want to invest into Hims. Let's actually see, because I kind of I should have invested into Hims when it was at 30s. But let's see. So yeah, Hims is kind of hitting the territory where I should invest. So about a 30% drop from its previous highs. Can it head lower? Absolutely. I mean, it can head as low as the 20s all over again. So, I'm not thirsty to invest into anything right now. Everything is at pretty much all-time highs or previous highs or close to previous highs, right? So I'm not super, hungry to invest into Hims right now. Okay, if it if it pumps from here, then fine. I missed out. It's not something I'm like desperate to have in my portfolio. My portfolio is fine. Long term portfolio is fine. But if it gives me the opportunity, if it drops lower from here, I mean, if it gives me a 50% discount, right, which I imagine would be at the 30s, this gap fill at the 30s, that would be great. That would be absolutely great. You guys know, I look to invest at percentages. I don't invest into numbers. I invest into percentages. I encourage you to do the same. So if something is giving you a 50% discount, you invest into that if it makes sense. Okay. UNH. So I think I talked about. I don't know if I talked about UNH on the YouTube. I think I talked about it in Discord, but UNH. I'm looking to invest in. We talked about. Actually, we did talk about this in Discord. Me and like a few, or at least one Discord member, talked about this, where I will be looking at to invest into UNH. You're talking about a 60% discount. 60%. I mean, so between here and 200, I would definitely be looking to invest into UNH. That's just me. Okay. Um, I don't think it's going anywhere, right? I don't think it's going to get delisted or anything like that. I don't think it's going anywhere, right? You can invest into the ETFs, right? The what is it? Healthcare ETFs, pharma ETFs. You can do that. That's a much safer option. That's what we did in the Discord. But if you are looking to invest into UNH because a lot of people are talking about it, I would, consider it. You're talking about a 60% discount again, right? So at this point, we're just talking about long term investment ideas and things like that. Apple, you guys know how I feel about Apple. You had your opportunity, you kind of missed out. Tesla gave you a beautiful opportunity at 220 when it was at a 50% discount. A lot of, people argued with me there, like, Tesla's going to go much lower. And it's just like, you're not looking for Tesla to go lower. You're looking at percentages. All right. If a stock gives you a 50% discount and over, you might want to invest into that stock. AMD was a good example. Now, me personally, I wasn't really interested in AMD, right? Having AMD in my portfolio because I already have Nvidia in my portfolio. I think nobody's going to beat Nvidia, but AMD, right? AMD would have been a good investment. This thing was like over a, I don't even know, is probably way higher than 50%. But when you're talking about AMD, yeah, you're talking about a 66% discount, guys. Probably should have invested into AMD, right? When it was at 76. So, you're not going to get too many opportunities like this in this type of market where you're seeing 60% discounts, 50% discounts. So, this is why you should not be focused on specific numbers to invest in. And you're like, oh, I'm going to invest into AMD when it hits $50. Like, you should not be focused on numbers. You should be focused on percentages. All right. The market is about percentages. Profit is about percentages. Return on investments is about percentages. Okay. Sharks, shark people on Shark Tank, things like that, they care about percentages, return on investment. They're not caring about specific numbers. All right. So, things like that. So that's my little talk right there. Last, let's just talk about Bitcoin, and then I'll get you guys up out of here. I just want to give you guys a decent, pretty decent long video since I kind of screwed up yesterday. All right. Bitcoin, 112K. Once it held 112K, at this point, I think we're gonna go ahead higher. Go ahead higher. What am I saying? Sorry, I just woke up, guys. All right, so Bitcoin, I think 1 in 25K is very much possible from here. Don't jump the gun just yet. Let's go to the 4 hour time frame. But as you guys can see, Bitcoin is making these slight higher lows. Okay, these little higher lows. Okay, so you got a low here, higher low here. You're breaking back within this range. Let's actually mark this out. Bitcoin's looking really good, by the way. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. Okay, right here. This is beautiful. This is actually beautiful. I might look at MSTR and coin today. All right. Low, higher low. You're breaking back above these guys, or you're breaking back within the range of these guys. So you're basically breaking back within this. We'll just say this is a rectangle right here. You're breaking back into this. You are. So Bitcoin most likely, if anything, will revisit previous highs at around 120K, and then I mean it can go much higher. Me and one of my mods, Insider. For those who just in the Discord, you guys know who Insider is. We've been talking about how Bitcoin can head towards 130K. It's looking really good. 125, 130K. I think it's very much possible at this point. We'll see. But as long as Bitcoin stayed above 112K, it's very much possible. All right. So that's the video, guys. Hopefully the mic was much better. This video, I basically, I'm basically, I'm doing my best here. Okay, I'm doing my best. With all the storms and things like that that's happening. There's no reason for me to lie about it. You can check and see what's going on in the South, but it is what it is. Also, for if you have family in Fort Stewart or you were affected by the shooting in Fort Stewart, my prayers go out to you. That was absolutely insane, especially for um, my mom. She used to be stationed in Fort Stewart, so it's pretty crazy. For those, if you're not keeping track, five soldiers were shot at and Fort Stewart due to an active shooter. Crazy enough, it was a sergeant. Coming from someone who was recently in the military. That is very sad to hear. But yeah, prayers go out to you. Prayers go out to those people as well. I wish them nothing but the best and for a speedy recovery. But yeah, that's pretty insane. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, whether it's due to the Fort Stewart situation or the stock market, whatever the case may be. Let me know what you guys think. Are we going to head towards all time highs, or is this just another bull trap? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Quant data, nothing really came in on quant data from what I've known. Um, from what I can tell, I don't see. Oh, five. Yeah, no, I'm not seeing anything. Yeah, so nothing crazy came in for quant data. By the way, quant data is not new. Like this is something we've always talked about on this channel. It's just I haven't talked about it because the market kept consolidating, so there was nothing coming in on the order flow. But quant data has been on this channel for like over a year now, and in the Discord for longer than that. So for those of you who are new, yeah, this isn't new. Okay, this isn't new. Order flow is something you should definitely be trading. But that's just me. All right, until the next video, traders. Have a good one.